Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So this was a requested video, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to figure out if you're eligible for the CPA exams, how to apply for the CPA exams, how to send in your transcripts for them to verify your education, as well as getting your notice to schedule, and then how to send in your experience and how to apply for the CPA license. So we're going to go through the entire process. And just as a disclaimer before I get started is definitely use your state board's website and the NASBA website as your primary source of information, because that is where they're going to have the most updated information for your specific state. I cannot cover the process that applies to everyone because every state is different. There are no two states that are the same in terms of getting your CPA license. So definitely don't use this video as your primary source of information. Use this video as your secondary source of information. With that being said, I will put timestamps in the description below. So if you just have a question about a specific area of the CPA application license process, you can definitely skip to that section of the video. So first, we're going to talk about eligibility. Obviously, when you're applying for the CPA exams, you have to figure out if you're eligible to even sit for the exams or not. There are 55 jurisdictions. Obviously, there's 50 states, and then there's also Puerto Rico, District of Columbia, Guam, and some other places. And most states will require you to have 120 credits and a bachelor's degree, which that shouldn't be an issue because in order to get your bachelor's degree, you will need 120 credits. And of those 120 credits, there are a certain number of credits that have to be in accounting, and then there are a certain number of credits that have to be in business, and then a certain number of credits that can just be anything. So again, whatever state you're sitting for, definitely look up their requirements in terms of education. But I think if you have a bachelor's degree in accounting, you should be fine and you should be able to meet the requirements to at least sit for the exam. Now, some states will require you to have all 150 credits before you can even sit for the exams. If that's the case, you will need to get those credits first and then you can apply for the exams. But I believe most states only require 120 credits to sit for the exams, but then you're going to have to get an extra 30 credits in order to get your CPA license. But you won't need those 30 credits in order to sit for the exam. Now, just some other requirements you might need to fulfill to take the exams. Some states do require a minimum age to take the CPA exams. I don't believe that's most states. I'm not sure, you can definitely look that up, but I think from what I've seen, the minimum age is not above 21. So I think for most people it should be fine because you usually don't graduate with your bachelor's until you're 21. Another requirement is citizenship. Most states do not require you to be a US citizen to sit for the CPA exam. I think there are a couple of states that do require you to be a US citizen to sit for the exams. So if that's the case, you definitely want to look into that. Another requirement is residency. Some states do require you to be a resident of the state that you're applying for a CPA license in. Again, I don't think that's most states. And then Social Security. I think most states require you to have a Social Security number, but some states don't. These are just some little things that you might want to look into before you apply for your CPA license, on top of making sure that you fulfill the education requirements. All right, the next step after you have determined that you are eligible to sit for the CPA exams in your state is to actually apply for the CPA exams. Now, this process has changed a little bit since when I was applying. So there are some states that let NASBA take over the exam score release and everything. And then there are some states where the State Board of Accountancy will take over that process. And I believe it's half and half. Half the states let NASBA take the exam score release process, and half the states want the state board to take over the exam process. So again, do your research. But for me, I did apply for my CPA license in New York, and New York pushed the exam score release process to NASBA, so that is what I'm familiar with. But if you're in a state where the state board wants to take over the exam score release process, I'm pretty sure it's very similar. You just have to go through your state board instead of going through NASBA to get your NTS and to find out your score once it's released. So if you are in a NASBA state, you will create a NASBA CPA portal. And the link to access this portal is dashboard.nasba.org. And here, this is where you're going to create an account and you're going to pick the state that you want to apply for a CPA in. And obviously, if your state doesn't use NASBA, it's not going to be listed here. So assuming that the state you're sitting in does use NASBA, you're going to pick the state, you're going to answer all the questions. It's just a general form asking you your name, your birthday, when you graduated, what school you went to. And then here, this is where you are going to have whatever university you went to submit your transcripts to NASBA, and they will need to verify your credits to make sure that you have enough credits and the appropriate credits to sit for the CPA exams. From what I remember, when you're done sending in your application, they will give you an address where you can tell your university to send your transcripts by mail, and I believe they will also give you an email. So you can also ask your university to send your transcripts by email. Whatever you do, you need to make sure that the university sends in your transcripts to NASBA. You cannot have any access to your transcripts, and I think that's just for security reasons, so that you can't alter your transcripts or anything, and it has to be your official transcripts. Just contact your university. There's probably a lot of people that are requesting transcripts for different things. And I would say if you're asking your university to send this by mail, definitely give it about a month. And if you're asking your university to send it by email, give it about 2 weeks. For me, I did have my transcripts sent over by mail, and it took just about a month for them to verify my education and say that I was eligible. As of August 29th of 2023, you must be found eligible to take the CPA exams before you can apply for the exams. So after you send in your application and everything, and after your university has sent over your official transcripts to NASBA, they will look at your education and make sure that you are able to take the CPA exams. Once they give you the notification that you are eligible for the CPA exam, you can start signing up for whatever exams you want to take. I believe you'll get an email notification. And from what I've read on the NASBA website, you're actually no longer able to sign up for more than one exam. This was not the case when I was taking my CPA exams. I was able to sign up for as many sections as I wanted, but I had to take those exams within a 6-month window. And after you apply for your NTS, I would say give it about 2 to 3 days for them to issue your NTS. Again, this will all be on the CPA portal. This was not the case when I was applying for the CPA exams. There was something called CPA Central, and then there was also a CPA portal, but our NTS was always on CPA Central. I don't know, it was really confusing. So I'm glad that they made it so that everything's on the CPA portal now, because I feel like that's just so much more straightforward. Now on this NTS, you're gonna have a launch code. You're gonna use this launch code to schedule your exam. So to schedule your exam, you're gonna go to prometric.com. You're gonna put in your launch code. You're gonna say that you wanna take the CPA exams, and then what section you're taking and some other information. And then you're gonna pick the day that you want to take the exam. And then after you sign up for the exam, you will get an email notification saying that you have scheduled an exam on whatever day at whatever time. If you want to reschedule your exam, just make sure you reschedule it at least 30 days or more in advance, so then you can reschedule it for free. If you schedule it less than 30 days, you can still reschedule, but you're going to have to pay a fee for that. When you apply for the exam, you're going to be paying an exam fee and an application fee. The application fee will depend on state, so every state will be different, but I believe the exam fee will be the same for every single state. And I also saw online that in 2024, there won't be any continuous testing. I am not sure why that is, and I'm not sure if they're going to bring it back, but basically that means that there's going to be a blackout window where there's going to be, I think, 20 days or so where you won't be able to take the exam. But now we're going to talk about exam day. On the day you take your CPA exam, you need to make sure you have a printed copy of your notice to schedule, aka NTS. You cannot have a copy of it on your phone, because you're going to need the launch code on your NTS that was given to you by NASBA and the AICPA in order to start your exam. So very, very important that you print a copy of your NTS. You also need to have 2 forms of government issued identification. For me, I've only needed one. I've never been asked for a second one, but definitely bring a second one just in case they ask you for it. So they're going to verify your identity. They're going to take your fingerprint. They're going to take your picture, and then they're going to use a metal detector and scan you, make sure you don't have anything that you're not supposed to have. You're not allowed to have any jewelry on, nothing on your hair, no bracelets, nothing. I think the only exception is if you have something that's for a religious reason. So after that, they're going to give you scratch paper and a calculator, and that is the only thing you are allowed to bring into the exam room. After you sit down for your exam, there will be noise blocking headphones to block out the noise. The exam is computerized, so it will all be on the computer. I have always used the noise blocking headphones because I just don't like noise when I'm taking an exam. And after that, you're going to put in the launch code from your NTS, and then you start your exam. So I'm not sure if the process has changed or not, but when I was taking the CPA exams, you get a 15-minute stop the time break after the 3rd testlet. That is the only stop the time break you have during the exam. You can take a break between the other testlets, but that will take time away from your exam. So I definitely do not recommend that you take a break between testlets that take time away from your exam. After the 3rd testlet, it will stop the time, so you won't have time taken away. You can go out, use the bathroom, drink some water, eat a snack. But when you come back into the exam room, they're gonna have to check you in again, and that's gonna take time. So definitely factor that into your break. And then after you finish the exam, you come out, they'll check you out, and then they'll give you a piece of paper saying that you sat for the exam. I think it's just a confirmation for you. And then depending on when you took your CPA exam, you will have to wait a certain amount of time to get your score. There is a schedule up on the AICPA website, and I think just on the internet, of when you will get your score depending on when you took the exam. So definitely make sure you check that. But once your score is available, you will get an email notification again saying that your score is available, and then you can log onto your CPA portal and check your score, and hopefully you passed. But if you don't, that's okay. A lot of us don't pass. And then if you don't pass, you can just sign up for the exam again, and you're just gonna keep doing that until you pass all 4 sections of the CPA exams. And then after you pass all 4 sections of your CPA exams, you will get a congratulatory letter from, I don't remember, it's either the AICPA or NASBA, I'm not sure, stating that you passed all 4 sections of the CPA exams, what your scores were, and when you took the exams. And this letter is just to confirm that you passed it. But that's to tell you that that's only one of the parts to getting your CPA license. You also need to make sure that you fulfill the 150 credits if you didn't do so already, and also telling you that you need to make sure you have relevant and sufficient work experience. Some states will require you to take an ethics exam. This exam you do not do at Prometric. You will do it at home, and you need to score a 90% or more to pass. But I've heard people say that it's really easy because you just do it at home, and a lot of it is basic knowledge, I think. I'm not exactly sure. In New York, they did not require the ethics exam, but I'm not sure what this ethics exam is. But if your state does require it, definitely make sure you do that, because it's just another thing that you have to do to get your CPA license. So now we're going to talk about getting your relevant work experience. You do need to work under a licensed CPA for at least 1 to 2 years. Again, this will depend on states. Some states require 1 year of work experience. Some states require 2 years of work experience. But I think most states will require at least 1 year. And most states will also require that the CPA that you're working under is a CPA for at least 4 years. So your supervisor, I think, has to be a CPA for at least 4 years for your work experience to count. My best advice to get your work experience is just to work at a public accounting firm, because everybody there's a CPA, and you know that your work experience will count. If you go to a private firm, not everyone there's a CPA, so the work that you do there won't count for the experience to get your CPA license. So that's why I always recommend you go to a CPA firm to fulfill that work experience requirement. And also just to get some experience working at a public accounting firm. And if you don't like it, you can just get your CPA license and then leave. So after you fulfill your education exam experience, and if applicable, the ethics exam, now you are ready to apply for your CPA license. And when you are applying for your CPA license, that is all going to be done through the State Board of Accountancy. So that's not going to be done through NASBA anymore, because your state will issue you the license, not NASBA. So whatever state you're applying for the CPA license in, go to their State Board of Accountancy, read what they need. There's probably some applications that you need to fill out, and you'll probably need to have your university send over another transcript if you didn't fulfill the 150 credits when you sat for the exam. So they need to make sure you have 150 credits. You need to fill out an application to give to your supervisor so they can fill out your work experience and send it to your state board of accountancy. And then after everything is sent in, give it 12 weeks and you should receive your CPA license in the mail. And once you receive it in the mail, yay, you're officially a CPA and you can put those 3 letters behind your name. And after you get your CPA license, the year that you get it, you don't need to fulfill any of the CPE credits to maintain your license, but the year after, you're gonna have to make sure that you have enough CPA credits in order to keep your CPA license active and keep this letter CPA behind your name. Again, this will vary state by state. Most states will require 40 credits per year. I know some states require 120 credits within 3 years, and then some states require 40 credits per year. So on average, it's about 40 credits a year. And I made an entire video how to get CPE credits, so definitely check that video. I will link it in the description below and put a card on the screen. All right, you guys, that is just a general overview of the whole CPA application process. It is kind of confusing, but it's not impossible. Definitely let me know if you have any questions, and also reach out to your State Board of Accountancy in NASBA if you have questions. I definitely reached out to them a lot by telephone and email. If you enjoyed this video, definitely subscribe, turn on the bell notification, and also leave me a comment letting me know where you are in your CPA license process. I hope you have a great day and night wherever you're watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!